TikTok, it's time to rock. Welcome to the channel, folks. Welcome to the third installment of How the West Was Won, and in particular, Brad, it's the conclusion of our annual Zep-tember celebration on the channel, bro. And I see you are aptly wearing the Zoso shirt.
Well done.
In commemoration of that.
Yes, I am. I was going to wear the same T-shirt as you, Andrew, but I thought, you know what, I'll go with the Zoso again. You know, it was hanging on the clothes so it's nice and dry and ready. I thought I'll put that on instead.
Just stop that.
Yes.
Well done.
So, happy Zep-tember, the final one.
Happy Zep-tember on the Zoso show here on the channel. It's an annual thing here, folks. If you're not familiar with what we're doing here, obviously it's in our wheelhouse, but we dedicate a whole month to this band. And if you want to whinge and whine why we don't dedicate a whole month to Eric Clapton or Van Halen or the Rolling Stones, send us your complaints. We'll consider them.
What you mean? Just count up the number of albums we've done by Eric this year. It'd be more than a month.
Yeah.
Several months.
Yeah, if you want to whinge and whine because you perceive us to be undemocratic, please, you know, we'll accept the comments.
This is not a democracy. This is an Andrew autocracy.
But we're certainly looking forward to finishing this series off, guys. We've got a couple of shout outs, obviously, to do as per normal with our normal format. But before we do that, though, guys, I just want to say quickly, you know, this particular Zep-tember that we've done, negotiating, and I'm saying that, negotiating the ups and downs on this incredible album. And when I say downs, it's not downs, Simon, as in a bummer or anything like that. It's just the merry-go-round, the
ebbs and flows.
Yes, the ebbs and flows, the troughs and the highs that you get, or as Brad said a couple of times last week, the contrast between, you know, black and white, you know, that you get. So that's my experience with this album over these last couple of weeks, Simon.
Oh, completely. It's they don't make them like that anymore, do they? That kind of emphasis on variety, dynamics, virtuoso playing. I think it's it's amazing. I went out for lunch this week with an old school friend of mine who lives in Melbourne. Brad, he lives in central Melbourne. So Tony, who's just over visiting his relatives, and we had it. You know, we were talking about Zeppelin and how kind of unique they were in that sense of, you know, the variety of the stuff they did, the acoustic stuff, the folk stuff, that all the influences that they had and introduced into, you know, what they did, and that business of being able to just step off the cliff and just play for 25-30 minutes, you know, and kind of, you know, and clearly some of it's worked out, but, you know, it's worked out in sections, but I don't think the individual notes are worked out by a country mile. You know, I think, you know, you've got improvised passages and the way that the musicians interact with each other is I think a, you know, such a major lesson for any young musicians. It's not so young musicians, you know, to look at when you're in a band, you know, and when you look at them on film, they're all together, aren't they? They're all like, you know, John Paul Jones is standing next to Bonham's, drum writer. He's not kind of in the next postcode, and I see a lot of bands where they're in the next postcode, huge stages and kind of, that urge to kind of fill them up where they had big stages, but actually the core of them is right in the middle, and I think that's really important. So it's as ever as far as I'm concerned, you can never have too much Led Zeppelin, and it's always an absolute joy to do these things and really dig into what's going on in the tracks and stuff. So yeah,
and well, and so much so that they get a whole month, Brad. So and we're pretty proud of that, folks. We're pretty proud of the fact that the three of us here are music fans, along with everybody else in the chat and people who watch us. We can see the significance, and it's kind of, we say it often, don't we? But, we've got to say it again. We've got to keep saying it. It's just paying back, these guys and girls for the music that they've given us, us talking about them, still, it's just a simple way of saying thanks just by spending a couple of hours talking about them, Brad.
Yeah, well, I mean, giving back is a good way to put it, Andrew, like you said, because, I mean, there's such a big influence on everybody, probably, that watches this channel, musically, sonically, but even just the music, sitting back, listening to it, and the joy that they've given every single one of us, I guess, listening to their material through the years. And, the wonderful things that, Jimmy Page has been slowly drip feeding us for the last 10, 15 years or 20 years or whatever, maybe longer. But it's just incredible, the amount of stuff and that still keeps getting dripped out. I mean, I'd love to see more footage, more audio. I don't know whether he's exhausted the amount of stuff that is available, but hey, keep bringing it on. I mean, that, becoming Led Zeppelin thing was something that, I'd seen a lot of it. I hadn't seen a lot of it. It was just great. It was like a gold nugget for a Zeppelin fan. And why shouldn't we give them an entire month to themselves, Andrew and Simon?
Yeah,
I agree. And I think the interesting about becoming Led Zeppelin is that it dovetails really well with the DVD. It goes up to the DVD, but it doesn't go across it, and so that you can watch Becoming Led Zeppelin and then watch the DVD and see how they progress from the Albert Hall in '69 to through to Earl's Court '75 and later. And I think that's that continuity that so you can see the whole story. I think is fascinating. And, hats off to Mr. Page for curating that and sorting it out in such an excellent fashion.
Yeah, I love it. I love it too. And I think I'm going to, before we go and do some shout outs, I'm going to add one thing. I think he's working on part 2. Becoming Led Zeppelin is the first, and it's going to be something like We Are Led Zeppelin, or This Is Led Zeppelin, or something like that, Brad. It has to be. Gotta be, Simon.
Well, that'll be cool if he does if he does some more, if there's a lot more kind of background stuff and things that he can draw on to put into that being Led Zeppelin or whatever or whatever it's going to be called. That'd be fantastic. But as I say,
it doesn't have to be new footage. It just has to be them talking about on the record. That's all it has to be. It just needs to be the three remaining Led Zeppelin members talking about, and I don't give a shit if we get the same visuals or the same footage or but to have that officially on record, the 72, that mid-70s Led Zeppelin on record would be mind-blowing. But we'll cross our fingers. Before we start the show, folks, the Rock Professor will do a shout out to you all. There's a couple of our good friends here in the show, chatting away. But there's I'm going to kick it off. 56 years ago, 4 days ago, another great band that we follow, that probably let's break the mold. We probably need to have a Beatles month. Let's break the mold here. But the Beatles' masterpiece, Abbey Road, was released 56 years ago. We've ranked that album. There it is there, Brad. Well done. You've walked across those white stripes,
Yes.
haven't you? So
Yes.
happy birthday.
Yeah.
Tell us, mate, before you do your shout-outs, just, recap what it was like for you doing that stroll.
I'm reliving it every day, Andrew and Simon. I mean, it's in my head. Yeah, well, for me, it's just all my life I've always looked at look at this.
Yes, you see.
You know,
fantastic record.
I've looked at that cover that many times, you know, and then to actually be in that location, walking that crossing, it was, I got to say, surreal. It was very surreal to actually cross the same place. I mean, and historically, knowing that 50 odd years ago, that's where the Beatles walked across. I mean, well, you know, it still blows my mind every day that I actually walked that crossing. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's one of those, you get there, it's got a vibe. The place has got a vibe to me. I don't know, Simon, if you've obviously been there, Simon, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've walked across the. I haven't done the zebra cross. I haven't done the ritual zebra crossing walk, but particularly.
You must do it at some point. It was just a surreal experience. I mean, one of my all-time favorite records to actually walk that crossing, and picturing the songs in my head. I was walking across it, and I took my hats and everything, like this hat here, on tour with me when I went for one day, just for that crossing, so I could get some decent photos. And my partner Jackie nearly died in the process of trying to get a photo. I nearly got run over.
Did you make her stand in the middle of the road? Did you?
Yes, I made her, and she kept saying, "That's good enough." I go, "No, one more." I swear she nearly got run over that many times, as so did I. Motorbike come screaming through, nearly took my ankles out. But anyway, it was just a surreal experience, and I'm sure anyone who's been there, I know, Jim's been there, Michael also's been there. I know a lot of people have been there that watch the channel and would actually be completely and utterly, feeling the same way as me.
Yay! Yeah. Well, yes. So my shout outs this week are Bruce Springsteen's birthday was this week. Born 23rd of September 1949, so he's at 76 years old, still rocking. Yeah, as he said, we ain't going anywhere. We're still rocking. When somebody asked him about retirement recently, not on the cards. No. So he's going to be out touring. And leading into what we're doing today, sadly, the 25th of September, so that 3 days ago, John Bonham died in 1980. So look at that, 45 years ago, Brad.
I know.
He was only 33.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, isn't it? To think that. I mean, even I remember when I saw Page and Plant, Simon, back in '90s, mid-'90s, it would have been 95.
That's 30 years ago.
Yeah. I saw Page and Plant, and at that particular time, it was like 20, 25 years ago that Bonham had died. So, and I was just sitting there going, imagine what it would be like to be watching John Bonham up there with us, with them. But to think now it's that far, 40 odd years ago. What was it?
45 years ago.
Wow. And still, in my honest opinion, one of the greatest drummers of all time, still.
Oh, well, yeah, it's a, as we all know, because I go on about it, but, I for me, the greatest rock drummer, and that's only my opinion. It's not You know, there's no fact involved in whether you choose Bonham, Ginger Baker, whoever else, you know, Ian Pace, you know, whoever the drummers you want to choose, and that's fine. But you know, I think he's up there, always up there. You know, and that leads us nicely on to this week's rankings. Oh, before we do that, I'll just say hi to Ellen. Good morning, Ellen. We hope you're well, and Jonas Hallberg as well. And there's and then nobody else has made any comments, but so make a comment and we'll say good morning to you. But fine. But yeah.
And
awesome.
Boss Man Andrew, how you going there with your internet? You're okay now?
Yeah. While we're talking, I'm going to ring this fucking internet provider and find out what's going on, because I'm paying a premium service here, and you know, you expect it to work. And for the last 4 or 5 Sundays, it has been what's the word, lagging a bit. So I'll be doing that live while we're talking, guys. But sorry about that.
No problem.
You pay thousands for a service, and like anything that's got anything to do, well, it's not the government, it's a commercial operation. So what's their excuse going to be? Get in line.
Yeah.
Just fucks me off, that's all.
Oh, it's disappointing, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
Are we far enough in for the swearing not to matter?
Are we? I'm not sure.
15 minutes, I think we're right. It's only if you come on, Brad, the first 5, I think, if you come on blasting away, then I think we're all in trouble, Ed. But
yeah. So we might as well get straight into it, guys. What do you think?
I think we should start with.
Yes, it's an early start for us compared to normal, so it's good. Usually we yabber for about half an hour or so.
Don't worry, we've only been doing 17 minutes, Brad. That's nearly 20 minutes.
That's good enough. It's good enough. So we're starting the last 5 tracks, I believe. Starts with Moby Dick. Is that right, gentlemen? We're
Correct.
So for me, I had a good listen to this week. I've been listening to it for the last few weeks, but because, you know, we sectioned it off into 6 songs, you know, each show, and 5 this one, I guess. But for me, I gave it a really good listen, and this is Bonzo's time to shine. I mean, he shines in nearly every single song anyway, but it's really, you know, probably a great golden opportunity for the rest of the band to go and have a break, do what they've got to do. Maybe go to the toilet, go do the usual
have a curry,
backstage antics, and let John Bonham do his thing. For me, Bonzo, he lays this down. I mean, that riff, I mean, the way the band play that riff, it could have been a song in its own, like with lyrics and everything, but instrumentally, it just takes off, and it goes like, it's just so electric, so much atmospheric stuff going on during the playing of this riff. It's got the riff that it's like a blues turnaround, I guess, guys. It's a blues turnaround, and Jimmy Page is playing between the sections like a vocal line, which is really cool. But obviously, you know, the highlight for me is John Bonham. You know, he takes you through all sorts of different grooves, thunderous fills. He plays with his hands. You know, he's a little jazzy at times, little big band sort of stuff as well, bit Buddy Rich stuff going on there. You know, that famous hand drumming he does where he hits the cymbals. I mean, just that must really, you know, I've always just watched him doing that because he hits the cymbals so hard. I'm surprised he didn't crack or break his hands, you know, in the process of doing it. But he used to just say it was how he did it. He just played. You can hear the power, but you can also hear the dynamic behind John Bonham's playing in this song. John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page, they just locked in with that riff, the intro section and the outro section. You know, and the sound of his snare when he brings the band back in after his drum solo, you know, the way it's just so explosive. It just sounds like cannon. It's like a cannon going off. It's unbelievable. Guys, you know, I'm not a huge fan of drum solos, but you know, John Bonham's drum solo is one of the main ones I can sit back and really admire and listen to. It's a 10 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Over to you, Andrew.
No, it's me.
Simon. Sorry, I got it wrong. My bad.
Don't worry. We'll get to the fifth song. You'll have worked out which way around we're going. Morning,
Yeah.
as you say, good morning to John, ZD351. Morning, John.
John.
Hey, John. Hey, bro.
Sunny Melbourne.
Yes.
Yes, it is a tour de force, isn't it? Of drumming skills and, you know, and dynamics. Again, dynamic, that word, the D word, dynamics. And, you know, as you say, Brad, that thing business about you start off, he started off with, you know, with the sticks after the riff comes up, and then he starts playing with his hands. And I see it's extraordinary, that sort of banging his drums with his hands, and kind of gives it that kind of Indian feel, you know, sort of almost tablas kind of feel that you get. It's you know, and then he, you know, reintroducing the sticks, he cups, you know, and as you say, nobody can hit it like Bonham, you know, absolutely incredible. You know, it's you know, and the way that he builds it, and and changes it, and it's it's like the ocean rolling, and it's incredible. But so, you know, it's I mean, it's, you know, if you're a drummer, then you should listen to it, you know, because it's, you know, there's so many lessons in there of, you know, drumming, double pedal figures on a single bass drum. All of that stuff is just, you know, and then the very light snare brushwork, you know, and end up with the full power drumming to sort of finish it off. And as you say, that to bring the band back in, this, you know, getting by the lapels and shaking you, isn't it? It's amazing. As we know, famously, I'm always famously thrilled by drum solos. Not so as far as I'm concerned, it's a Brad score, but it's always a skip.
Oh goodness, that's good. I like that.
I guess I've listened to it twice, to be honest, because I know how it goes. Yeah, after a bit, you know. I mean, I feel no need to hear it again. Seriously. So yeah, Brad score, but pretty much always a skip. Mr. Walton.
Well done, Simon. Thank you for sharing that thought with us. Look, guys, you know, one of the awesome things about going third is that you're going to have to sort of try and think of maybe something that's a little bit left field, but I can't think of too much that's going to be left field for me for my contribution this show. But look, it's a seminal intro, isn't it? This song, for a lot of reasons. You know, you've got Bonham and Page, you know, that intro, you know, it's just fantastic, you know. And also Page is on display as well with his pull-offs, Brad, you know, and those one string notes that he does. It's just incredible. And, you know, 20 minutes of amazing musicianship that just fitted so well into that live gig concert thing that they were doing, Simon and Brad, you know. And we discussed this when we did Song That Remains the Same. There's a reason why they have that big solo. And I did a bit of cheating, that drum solos, just to have, you know, to highlight, you know, John Bonham as a musician, as a rock and roll drummer. But I did a bit of cheating, and I asked a couple of guys over the last couple of weeks on drum YouTube channels what they thought of Moby Dick, and where they situate Moby Dick. And you've just hinted on that, Simon. If you're a drummer, you said it, you know, you need to study this. But every single drummer that replied to my questions on 4 or 5 of these drum sites agreed with exactly what you said. It's an important piece of music for a drummer. And if you're a beginner drummer, and if you haven't got some of these patterns down, according to a lot of these drummers, you're not really a rock and roll drummer. So you know, it could be like the Stairway to Heaven thing for guitar players, Brad. You know, whether or not you can do a couple of those things. I'm going to stick my hand up and say no, I can't. But I'm not a rock and roll guitar player. I'm a blues man, so I don't need to do that. But if you're a rock and roll drummer, there is this requirement, you know. And Mike Portnoy, for example, from Dream Theater, rates this as one of the best drum solos ever. So hugely influential. And I have to agree with you, Simon. So thank you for pointing that out. You know, if you are a drummer, go and study that. And it's not easy, they say as well. So I don't mind a good drum solo if it's in a live album like this where you're sort of trying to get that vibe. I'll listen to this, Simon. I'll listen to this drum solo. Probably not a lot of others, but I've got to give this Brad 10 out of 10 too. Not quite a Brad score, but definitely 10 out of 10. And just don't underestimate what Page is doing on the intro with Bonham on this. It's just incredible. Brad.
Brad, I can cheer myself up with the fact that when I saw them in '75, the drum solo was 35 minutes long, not 20.
Wow.
So I consider myself this is
wow.
You know, this is quite enough for any drummer. I didn't need another 15 minutes, honestly.
Look, I mean, there's some remarkable triplets and, you know, stuff he's doing completely the triplets, and, you know, to listen to it's quite outstanding. And John Bonham. So let's give him a 10 out of 10. You know,
John Henry Bonham, Moby Dick.
Just for being John Henry Bonham, you know, give him 10 out of 10. That's it.
I gave him a Brad score. So I don't have to listen to it again.
All right, so the next track, guys, Whole Lotta Love, and it's a bit of a medley as well. It's a medley of other things in the middle. It's sandwiched with Whole Lotta Love, which is pretty cool. Obviously, in the set, it's always a big set piece. They launch into this explosive intro, a little different to the recorded version. I love the way they do it with the drumming and everything. It's very cool. They stretch it out on this one. It's a medley of old rock and roll numbers in the middle. It's Zeppelin paying tribute to their roots, and it's giving back a little bit, but pushing their own sound and pushing it into their own territory as well. So bringing it forward and paying it forward as well. I love there's a section in the middle I usually call it the freak out section before the solo, and it's outstanding. I mean, Bonham's playing with this real percussive feel with the snare turned off on the drums, and you've got the theremin freak out section that I call it, and Elvis calls it the freak out, so I've adapted that name to it. And it's very cool. I mean, it's if you really listen to what's going on there's some really amazing musicianship in that part of the song there. If you're looking at the guitar, I mean, Page's riff, it's mesmerizing. It's phenomenal. I mean, the tone of his guitar on this live performance is unreal. During the medley, he slips into some bluesy sort of stuff, some rockabilly. It's jamming, and his transitions are seamless between lead and rhythm and whatnot in this. It's a really good live performance here from Jimmy Page. John Paul Jones is the anchor here. He's keeping this medley sort of grounded. Page and Plant are doing their, lead singer thing with the guitar and the trade off and everything like that. But John Paul Jones and John Bonham are really pulling it together. But Jonesy is like the glue or the liquid nails, as I said in the last one, that really holds it together. Bonzo is on fire here. I mean, he drives the band through this, through all the stylistic shifts and changes. He swings that riff. I mean, that riff, you think about the riff that Page is playing, the way he plays, it's got a swing to it. It's not a straight beat. And he adapts that through everything. There's some really cool shuffling, and geez, he's really pounding on those drums in this song. He adapts every sort of technique he's got into this performance. Vocally, Robert Plant, is the ringleader of this one. He's teasing all the women and with his voice and some masculine sort of masculinity sort of vocals there and lyrics, throwing it at the women. And I can imagine it just would have had all the women in the front with pure joy, let's put it that way, in their hearts and in their minds and elsewhere. The energy that obviously this band has, it's outstanding. And I can never really give anything but a 10 out of 10 for any sort of live performance of Led Zeppelin doing a whole lot of love, but this one's a definite 10 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Simon.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I mean, interestingly, on the CD, there's Hello Mary Lou, where they go into, which is whereas it's not on the Spotify version. Interestingly, so if you ever bought the CD version, you get a bit extra.
Yeah,
but it's not on the thing. That confused me for a minute, but you're right. The White Sabbath, it's that it is, what is it, 20 minutes long or something? It's 23 minutes long. Feels like about 5 to me. I mean, I think that constant, they start off, they do the riff, they do the verse, and then 1:45, you're into the, less than 2 minutes, you're into the theremin, freak out bit, and all that, but in a sense, they finished that. What is the central part of the recorded song? They finished that by about 3.5 minutes,
yeah.
and then they're into something else, and I think that extraordinary movement to different sections is incredible on this. Loud, quiet, soft, hard, fast playing, slow playing, blues, rock and roll. I mean, if you want to know what I mean, I don't, as I've said a lot of times, don't really know how. And I can see that you go, we get up to here, and then we're going to Boogie Chillum kind of thing, John Lee Hooker, and off they go, and they sort of do into that, and they go into Let's Have a Party, more rock and roll thing. And Jimmy Page can do blues solos. He do all those rock and roll styles, that rockabilly stuff. He does them all. He just cranks them out, doesn't he? And then they play quietly and they stop. Tremendous use of stops. And they just stop, and then somebody will do something. I think that John Paul Jones holds it all down. And the anchor of all of it is, through this sort of 23 minutes of hops, skipping and jumping through different styles, different, wherever you're going to go, and hugely dynamic. I mean, it's incredible, really. I think that you get that much dynamic and keep the interest up for 20 minutes with, as lest we forget, really no guitar pedals. It's just, 2 pickups, volume controls, and what you're going to play, but Jimmy Page manages to stretch that out to 23 minutes, no problems at all. And, I think that again, it's another one of those, if you want to know how to play together, and, when they stop and they go back and forth, don't they, and you know, some bits John Paul Jones will play with Jimmy Page, and some bits he just plays single notes. There's a sort of quieter section around 14:25 where for about the next minute John Paul Jones just plays a single note, and then he plays it a run. Just it's like, whoa. How much more simple can you get? Answer: not any more simple. So I think that it's an incredible piece. I could listen to it. I'd find listen to this more than once. And I think that that the keyword is dynamics, and I'm giving it 100 out of 10. Never a skip ever. You need to sit down and pay attention. Well, I think I'll make that last point before I pass it to you, Andrew. That listen to it on headphones. Listen to it when you really listen to it. Then you get an idea. Really, it's not a background piece. It's not something you could put on. It's something you need to pay attention to. That's what So make sure you've got it on headphones, or you got it on your stereo. No distractions. You can listen to 23 minutes of it. Anyway, it's enough from me, Andrew.
Works, Owen.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, Alan, for your comments as ever. I really appreciate them. Thank you for sharing them with us.
Yeah.
And John ZD351's got an interesting point there about, watching and listening to a drum solo. Look, I agree, and I'm going to back up. It's a similar pole of argument that Simon just said by listening to these albums with headphones. And, it's definitely a different experience than, listening to it on your car stereo, for example. So, yeah, I always try and do that too, Simon. So that's always a good point. Whole Lot of Love is really, really an important song, isn't it? For a lot of reasons. Brad, do you remember when you learnt to play that intro? It was almost like a rite of passage learning to play that intro, wasn't it? For a lot of us.
100%.
And that's pretty much the song. And if you've got that down, you've elevated yourself up into, these great levels of guitar playing in my mind. One of the great things about this song and all versions of the song, including the recorded version, is the psychedelic stuff going on, Simon. The freak out section, as Brad aptly called it, and it was a big part of that music scene, that a lot of people, I was a young guy in the early 80s, didn't really understand, didn't appreciate how important that scene was. It wasn't until you get a little bit older, read a bit, and then find out actually, that was really, really important. And again, the band put that that sort of movement into a big part of their song. It's incredible. It's just absolutely incredible what they were doing. Getting back to the song, though, Brad, that interplay between Bonham and Page, the call and answer between those, it's just incredible. I could listen to that. I never get sick and tired of listening to this song. I love all the versions of it, Simon. It's fat and punchy, Brad. It's just an incredible song. And I love this version. And when we show some pics, I think after this, we agreed after the second song, was it the third song? But when I show some pics, what's really interesting about Page is that Page is in 72. He's got a stage presence that's still 1972. He hasn't hung the guitar down low, and he's not doing his Jimmy Page stuff. He's like still there, right close. Simon, you said it, right close there to Bonham. It's incredible. The relationship that those two guys especially have musically, and it just comes through on a song like this. I love it. I'm giving this a Brad score.
Ooh, oh yeah, beautiful.
Yes,
yeah, baby.
Right, let's do pictures. Let's do pictures.
Yeah, let's do pictures. Why not? Okay. You're right to do pictures there, Andrew. You're right.
Yeah. So give me 2 seconds, boys. And so obviously we're going to have a connection. There's a couple of things that I've done. I've just jumped the gun a little bit, Brad. So this is Melbourne. This is playing at the tennis centre in Melbourne in 1972. Look at that, bro.
Unbelievable. Wow. Oh, yeah. If only I could have been there.
Yeah, that's Melbourne in '72, and this here is Auckland, same tour in '72. And look where Page is. Look what he's doing, and look at he's right there by Bonham.
Yep.
Well, they're all there, aren't they? You can get them all.
Yeah.
Not quite on a postage stamp, but actually, you can absolutely. It's incredible.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Look at the stage too. That it's like the bottom of it. There's no like black across the front. That you see all the scaffolding and all the everything. It's just crazy.
This is 72. This is Randwick in Sydney.
Yes.
Some famous photos.
Beautiful.
Not Randwick. Is it No, the SCG. Is it the S?
Oh, okay.
No, Randwick. Sorry, it is Randwick.
Randwick, yeah.
Same tour.
Just button for a sec, guys. We have JCM Led Zeppelin Stories and More in the chat. He's got a YouTube channel, really good YouTube channel. There's lots of in-depth documentaries on the making of the Led Zeppelin albums and
awesome.
backgrounds to them. Really good. Really, really good. I've watched lots of them. And they're fantastic.
Thanks for watching.
Good morning to JCM Led Zeppelin Stories and More.
It's
great to have you on.
So this is again from '72, doing their acoustic set.
See, sitting down, having the boldness to sit down, and for 4 songs, kind of take it, the ultimate taking it down, isn't it? And I kind of do those kind of quite, having the confidence to do that, I think is fantastic, and really makes those gigs.
Again, another famous photo from '72.
Great photos. I love that one.
And Page is bit of a hippie. He's wearing jeans. And that game from '72 got that Les Paul still a little bit high. Again, in front of Bonham. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
This is a still from some footage that was discovered at the beginning of the year that was filmed in '72. I'll attach if you are interested in the link. It was found in a guy's garage who was there in '72 in Auckland and uploaded it. So this is it's a little bit dodgy, the film. It's a little bit patchy, but that's number one.
Yep.
That's what you get from back then, isn't it? Dodgy film.
Here's another famous photo of Mr. Page.
James
he
Patrick
had a beard.
Page.
He had a beard 2 days before this photo was taken.
Oh, is this just after they shaved him off? Is it?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Shaved him down,
beards
with the.
Was that they had the beards for the first Glastonbury thing, didn't they? Bath show, which is a pre-embryonic Glastonbury.
And that's the Holy Spirit emanating from Jimmy Page.
Or a very long bow. So I've heard.
Another pick from '72. Again, I'm going to point out the obvious, that we love. Look at Page. Look how high he's got that Les Paul. No dragon suit yet. It's coming.
No, it's coming. Not yet.
It's coming. The top, he's got one that's is that which one's that one? That's the moon one, is it? Or no, I don't know. Which one?
I can't remember.
Not expert on Page's costume.
Yeah, where's Alan Garber? He knows everything. He knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the real Rockford? Where's Alan when we need him? Yes, he'll know.
He knows everything down to the the stitching. He knows it all.
And the last photo, guys, is the collection there of my CD.
Beautiful.
So How the West was one. If you haven't got it, go out there and get it. And there's an advantage, as the rock professor said, to getting the the CD. You get a couple of songs.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for allowing me to show that, guys. And thank you,
Great.
JCM, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, he
great.
does fantastic documentaries on Led Zeppelin, or each of the albums. I think you've done them all, Jason. Fantastic background and stuff like that. Just great. So well worth a watch and
definitely
and
check
to follow.
them out.
Yeah,
definitely check them out. Yeah, awesome. So we get to the next song, which I believe would have been an encore, to be honest with you, gents.
Encores.
Rock and roll.
Encores.
Rock and roll. And this version of it explodes. It's very raw. There's a lot of energy there straight off the bat. If you're familiar with the live version of the one on Song Remains the Same, very similar. Pages opting to play more just the rhythm guitar track instead of crossing over between the lead and the rhythm in the intro, which is interesting to hear. And I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. It's got a lot of punch to this version. Bonham, he's bombastic. He's like a freight train. Jimmy Page, he's got a lot of energy in his playing. His solo is fiery, and it's somewhat what would you call Scotty Moore, Chuck Berry-ish turned to 11. It's got that vibe to me. It always has when I listen to this. John Paul Jones is really just keeping the weight of the song there with the bass. There's a lot of muscle to it, and Bonzo is in beast mode. I mean, he's smashing through this track with a lot of momentum. But the way he does that opening count in, I mean, it's there's a lot of documentation about how he would do that count in. I've played it with numerous drummers, and it takes a bit of practice to get it right. But Bonzo just does it because it's like, well, it's his. He's made it his own. And the little drumming solo outro bit, like, it's just explosive. He's incredible drummer. And vocally, Robert Plant, he's belting out. It's all adrenaline for him, I'm sure. He's not holding back. You can really feel the top end of his voice in this one. He really gives it. But he's very relaxed with his vocal delivery. He's not really forcing anything. It's very just natural for him to sing at that intensity and that key, and where he's situated. So, guys, it's a for me, it's a 10 out of 10 and never a skip, gents. Simon.
It's I think I told this story, but it's worth maybe retelling. But when I was back when I go to university, 82. So I'm at a bus stop in West London, and my friend Kevin has lent me Led Zeppelin 4 on cassette, and I've got it on my Walkman. And I remember standing at this bus stop and having not listened to it for, because we've gone through the punk years. So, it's having not listened to it for quite a lot of years. So, 5 or 6 years, and standing there, and that da comes in. Blimey, it's like, I don't know what the punk was on about, but that's everything that, and the energy and the sort of ferocity of it is just incredible, and I can remember the kind of hair standing up on the back of my neck, thinking, what was I thinking? Not liking this, idiot. Go back and have a sharp word with yourself. And I've been back where I should be ever since. But so that always takes me back to that place of sort of that drum intro, and Jimmy Page comes in, ferocious guitar playing. It's just, there is no holding him back. So he just absolutely smashes into it. I like the mixture of lead and rhythm that he does, to sort of fill it out. That's really cool. Great vocals from Plant. He's right in there, you know, and that bit where he this when he does a solo at 128, you know, he does that mixture of lead and rhythm, and then he doubles down on the solo and just plays lead, you know, the lead break, and then at 230 you've got that fantastic kind of offbeat drum break that the Bonham does underneath the thing, but and a fantastic drum break to finish it. So fantastic version. I think it, you know, every bit as good as the recorded version. 10 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. Great version of it. Yeah, Andrew.
Cheers, mate. I too have a little story with this song. Back in 88, 89, I was mucking around with a couple of guys and we did a 5-set at a bar in town called Governor's, and it was a Saturday afternoon and no one danced. And for the first 4 songs, no one was dancing. So, okay, that was a bit depressing. Maybe we thought people weren't drunk enough, but it wasn't until we played Rock and Roll, a 5th song, that people started dancing. And I always have that memory of this song. And, you know, it's that song, isn't it? It's a song that gives you that thought of you know, getting up and dancing. You know, it's a warm song. I love it. You know, it's hot and thick, Brad. And again, the interplay between Page and Bonham on this is incredible. You go and watch some drum channels, and you know they'll again explain that it's not a simple, easy drum pattern to play. I love the fact too that Simon, it's a homage again by these guys, and you know, one of the greatest rock bands ever, paying it back to the skiffle and to the early rock and roll guys that inspired them. You know, we just ranked a song where they were paying homage again to these guys. And we've said many times on this channel how rock and roll, these American rock and rollers, were so important to these guys. And if they didn't have that, they wouldn't have been inspired themselves. Certainly with the Black Blues guys as well. But, you know, Elvis Presley and these other guys, Eddie Cochran, you know, coming along and playing and giving them the ability, you know, or the spark to get out there and perform these performing these bands themselves is incredible. You know, I love it. And this is, again, them playing, you know, that kind of song. I love it. Love the studio version of it. I think this is the 3rd version of the song we've ranked on the channel, guys. I think it is. If I haven't given them a Brad score on those other shows, I'm pretty sure I have. But if I haven't, clearly I don't know what I was talking about on those shows. But I've progressed, and perhaps I know a little bit about what I'm talking about now, Brad. So, Brad score.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, that rock and roll pays homage to records that came out 15 years before it.
Correct.
If you think about that, you'd be paying homage to records that came out in 2010.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it? But that 1958, you know, 57, 58 through to 70, you know, 71, 72. How much changed in that, you know, in that period? It's just extraordinary. You know, it feels like, you know, 1958 feels like a lifetime away in 1972, whereas 2010 feels like last week to me.
2010 does, yeah. 2010 does. Feels like it was yesterday.
That's it. You know, you think I'm going to pay homage to something from 2010. You think, say last week. What are you doing that for?
Yeah. Funny.
Anyway.
So we're up to the next track, gentlemen, and the next track I've got is The Ocean. So it's a explosive intro on this one. I mean, the main riff is massive. It's one of my favorite Led Zeppelin riffs to play. I love jamming along to this song. It's got such an open feel to it. The riff's massive. The groove on this one, the drumming that John Bonham puts down on it is it's addictive. You can't get enough of it. It's fantastic. The band sounds like they're really having the time of their lives here. Zeppelin, they're cutting it loose. It's probably towards the end of a marathon show and they're just going for it, and they're loving every moment. Again, the highlight for me is that opening riff. and Bonham's groove underneath that. It's got a lot of depth to it, but there's a lot of air to it as well, a lot of space. And, that's one of the wonderful things about Zeppelin. They would put so much space between the notes sometimes. And this is a perfect example. The riff's chunky, got a lot of swagger. The solo is very raw. It's Jimmy Page on the train tracks, ready to come off at any time, but he doesn't. He's just hanging on to those rails. His phrasing is Jimmy Page. Unmistakably Jimmy Page. No one can say it was anybody else. It just sounds like Jimmy Page. Jonesy, he's doubling that riff, but he also sneaks in a lot of little nuances and runs and whatnot that give it a lot of but he's holding it tight, especially during the solos. He's really keeping that song tight. Bonzo is the star, in my opinion, on this one. The groove's monstrous, and the way he shifts accents and then changes field for the outro section, it's explosive. It's not heavy metal, but it's heavy. You know what I mean? It's big, it's heavy, it's monstrous. I shouldn't say heavy, it's monstrous. And Robert Plant, he's very playful on this. He's very loose vocally. He adds lib a little bit of cheekiness in there. Clearly, he's really enjoying every moment of this. His whole performance here lifts the energy of the song. And for me, this is a 100 out of 10 and never a skip, guys. Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tour de force, isn't it? What interests me, you can hear Bonham count it in the background.
Correct.
Yeah, apparently I went away and had a look, and apparently you have to count. It's got like a bar of 4 and a bar of 7 following each other. The opening bit is like, what? Or you could think of it as one long bar of 15/8, but it's like, quite extraordinary that they just, and it sounds so natural and things, and I didn't really realize that it was like that until listening to this, and I could hear him counting in the back and going, why is he counting up to 7? What's that about? That's the which is extraordinary. So it's good, but it gives it tremendous. The thing we say about Bonham, great swing, doesn't it? He knows when to be on the front, and he knows when he just sits in the beat, and the swing is all there in the drumming. Got the bass player, John Paul Jones playing the riff with the guitar, which he does quite a lot of tracks. The two of them, Chip Page and him playing together. Great melodic solo at about 1:20, and then there's a breakdown at 2 minutes. Again taking it down, where Plant sings a cappella. Just again it breaks it up, gives it a completely different vibe, and then they come back in, and then at 3 minutes they go into that straight 4/4 bit. The second bit is a straight 4/4. With a great walking bass line from John Paul Jones.
Read that comment from Greg Zeppelin. Literally, bears pooping in his yard. That's what happens when you live in Canada.
As long as you're not out there too, Greg. That's what, stay indoors. Apparently, bears are dangerous.
Thanks for the comments, JCM. Appreciate them.
Yeah, fantastic. To Brad's score, never a skip. It's a fantastic version of it, and again, Bonham, the outstanding one for me on it with the drumming. Yeah. Mr. Walton.
Yeah, it's an incredible song, isn't it? Page and Plant again on these last series of songs, especially for me, guys, coexist in perfect harmony. These two, I just can't get over how important, and Brad and Simon, you've said it with your comments. The power and the precision that these two guys have, providing that musical ability for us to sort of sit back now and enjoy. And you've got, Brad, you said it before, you've got this hymnal dimension to, if that's such a word, to Robert
Yes.
Plant's vocals on this track. He's just incredible with his vocals, and I just can't believe how great this recording is. We've been saying it for the last 3 shows, JCM, and you offer a good comment there. Why didn't this package do as well as other packages? And I'm going to put it down to the fact that maybe it wasn't marketed as well as it could have been, and maybe long songs too. Maybe people don't appreciate the fact that there's a lot of long songs on here, which is part and parcel though of that vibe. And I remember, guys, when we first discussed this album years ago when we did our first Zoso show, one of the reasons why we were happy with this package is because they were giving you that experience with this recording, at least audio, through your audio. Yep. So I just think it's an incredible song, Brad. You've nailed it on the head. You've given it a 100 out of 10, which is the proper way of saying a Brad score. It's the proper way.
Yes. Williams is messing about, sir.
Good to see you, Gretch. Good to see you're alive and kicking, and that beer. Years and years ago, I went to the movies to watch this film called Grizzly. And, I don't know if you guys remember that. And this beer, and the beer grabs this old lady, and this kid, and this lady comes running out with a broom to hit the beer. So I hope you guys don't do that. Because
it's hilarious.
The saying. What was it? There's another saying too. Does the bear shit in the woods? Well, we got another saying here.
That's why I put Gretch lives in the woods. What?
So we got another saying for the channel. Does a bear shit on Gretch Zeppelin's lawn?
Yes.
Clearly he does. Yes.
Clearly it does.
Clearly it does.
What's that joke about the bear and the rabbit? The bear goes to the rabbit, have you got a problem with shit sticking to your fur? He goes, no. So he wiped his ass with the rabbit.
Cheers, JCM.
I love that joke. Yeah. Anyway.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Here all week. Yes.
We'll put the show back on the tracks and get on with it.
Links to Brad's comedy show in the show notes.
Yeah, we've got a proper guest in the show today joining us, guys, and here we're just reverting back to time.
Haven't you noticed? It always goes like this on the show. We get to an hour and it's all been, and then something's going to happen. Something always happens, and off we go. Down stupid lane.
I think we get delirious around this point of the show. You know what
I mean? Yeah. I'm on my third whiskey and soda.
Yeah. Hey, by an hour and a half, it's like we get our second win and we're right. But at this point, we start to get delirious. It's funny. Anyway, we're up to the last track that we're ranking, guys, and it's Bring It On Home. This one's got that smoky blues sort of intro, Plant channeling that Sonny Boy Williams sort of vocal. There's a wonderful sort of what do you call it, partnership here between Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. They know each other so well, and the intro of the song really highlights that. I guess the transition from that hushed blues sort of intro into the massive riff is just pure Zeppelin light and shade, like you're talking about at the start of the show, Andrew. And it's explosive once it comes in. Page plays, the intro really cool, but he stomps down hard with that the way the riff kicks in. His solo in this is wild. It's Jimmy Page at his best. And the verse riff, the way he's playing the verse riff, I mean, I love that. That sort of those blues inversions he's doing. It's wonderful. John Paul Jones is very locked into Bonham here. There's thunderous sort of groove happening in the heavy sections of the song. He's definitely the cement or the glue holding this song together as well. Bonzo here is ferocious. I mean, his entrance after the intro, that beautiful sort of bluesy intro, smoky blues intro, is like a cannon going off. He's swinging so hard as well, but he's hitting with maximum force here. And I love that section of the song, about 7-minute mark of the song, where Jimmy Page plays a lick and Bonzo mimics it on the drums. So like it's like he sort of mimics it.
Yeah.
I love that section, and that just goes to show the interplay between Page and Bonzo at this point in their career had really sort of they'd bonded. So they'd actually sort of got that chemistry together. They knew each other very well by this point. Vocally, I mean, Robert Plant here, he's got that sly bluesy intro, but then he really lets go. He's wailing through the heavy sections of the song, and he closes it off like a bluesman again. But there's some wonderful harp playing in here, and I'm 99.5% sure it's Robert Plant playing the harp, because he's a he does it, but he plays the harp so wonderfully well. It's almost like he he plays it like an old bluesman, and so he's channeling someone on the harp, and I love that. I don't know who he's channeling, but it's wonderful. Again, I'm giving this 100 out of 10. Not just a 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10, and never a skip, guys. Simon.
Yeah, it's this sort of tale of two songs, really, isn't it? In one, that 12-bar blues, the shuffle bit at the beginning, just when they start off, chug, 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 right? So, sort of invoking that kind of trains sort of, vibe, travel vibe. And then you go into the other bit, which is the big riff with the stop start with the machine gun drums and all, and then they're backed into familiar Led Zeppelin territory. As you said, really nice that back and forth with Page and Bonham on the guitar and drums. That's really cool. Again, this, like all Led Zeppelin stuff, is you've got loud bits, machine gun drums, and you've got quiet passage. You've got a bit of harp in that train vibe. And you've got the stop-start drums with the harmonica. Again, that kind of the brilliance of knowing how to play that dynamically, keeping it alive and keeping it rolling is incredible. And I think that on this song they show it. They go back to their blues roots, don't they? Go back to their what they did in their first album, and this is a fantastic version of that. And they bring it all home, don't they? It's at the beginning, and at the end they just go back into that 12-bar like they do at the beginning, just with a bit of harp to finish, kind of taking it down. But again, another lesson in dynamics and interplay between the instrumentalists. It's just brilliant. 100 out of 10, never a skip from me. Could listen to it over and over. So it's fantastic. Andrew.
Yeah, it's just about perfect, isn't it? From my point of view, guys, you've got that harp from Plant. It's incredible. What an incredible harp player he is. He's probably better than Mick Jagger. And that's saying something. And again, we said it at the top of the show back 3 weeks ago, Brad and Simon. 72, the Stones, and Led Zeppelin touring in 72. Mick Jagger was playing the harp on a couple of songs live. And Robert Plant comes along and says, anything Mick Jagger can do, I can do better. and that's up for debate. But I just think it's incredible. That blues segment, Simon, that you mentioned, again, it just gives this band some authenticity, doesn't it? That and we keep saying it, but we have to say it because it's really important. If you're going to go out there and play rock and roll, you've got to be able to play the blues, and it's important. We all started there, and if the three of us all got together and played, guess what? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a blues jam. It's just what. If it was good enough for ZZ Top to do it for 4 hours, it'll be good enough for us to do it for 10 minutes.
Oh, the word blues can only be followed by the word jam, can't it?
Yeah.
It's that's how those things work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's incredible. I just love it, and you can just imagine the young folks or the people in the audience just sitting back, just being blown away by it. You've already mentioned it, Brad. The tone from Jimmy Page on this track, John Paul Jones, Jonesy, his contribution. You can hear Jonesy playing passing notes on this. I have to agree with you guys. I think it's just an incredible way to end this album. It's definitely in Led Zeppelin's wheelhouse. We're going to pass it back to each other, but because I'm the last guy ranking it, I'm just going to say I'm glad, Brad. I'm glad that we did it because we said this weeks ago. It's been on our pick for years, Simon. And we've finally done it.
We've been waiting for the moment, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've done it. So, I want to say congratulations to you, Brad. Congratulations to you, Simon, for being part of it.
Yeah, it's been a terrible 3 weeks. It's really
Just
hard.
horrible,
struggling my way through how the Westwood won. The strain, the struggle.
Yeah.
It
was really tedious and tiring.
But I'm going to chuck it back to you guys though. But if JCM's in here as well, if one person, and we've always said it, if one person watches our show and goes and listens to this album and gives us a comment and say, wow, you guys are right, it's a great album, we've done our job, because that's all we want to do is just talk about music and share our thoughts, Brad. So you guys have done well. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Simon.
No, thank you, James.
It's as you say, that's our aim, isn't it? You don't have to agree with this. We don't, that's fine. But if you went away and listened to the record on the back of us talking about it, then as far as I'm concerned, that's an absolute plus, and that's what I'd like to think, and I'm sure that JCM does his stuff for the same reason, that people are looking at it and think, good to see you, JCM. Thanks for dropping by. It's really nice of you. Yeah,
thank you.
Keep up the good work with the docs, because they're really good. But yeah, when you were talking, Brad, I was going to be cheeky and go, so you've mentioned the name Sonny Boy Williamson. Can you tell us which Sonny Boy Williamson you're referring to?
The original one. Yes. The real one.
What? John Lee Williamson, not Alex Rice Miller. Is the correct answer.
Okay.
Not Alex. Not the con man.
That's why you're here, the rock professor. That's why you're here.
I'll just be cheeky now.
Yeah.
Well, because I happen to know, logged away in this nonsense, is the fact that there were two Sonny Boy Williamsons, not one, typically.
Yeah. No, well, you know what? It's give me this album any day to rank again, and you'll get exactly the same from me. Maybe a little bit different description, because every time I listen to it, it's pretty much, a little different every time. But I'd give everything the same rankings pretty much, because it's a phenomenal live performance. So I was really, really, when this originally came out, I was stoked, because you could see the, So For Me with The Song Remains the Same. You could see the lead up to Song Remains the Same, how the songs were developing, and the jam sessions. Obviously, once they got to Song Remains the Same, they'd refine them even more so, the jams and things like that. So you could just see the chemistry of the band here forming, in the early stages of 69, 70, 79. By 72, they're really starting to get their, they're really starting to get it together as a live act, really tight, really reading each other so well. And it's been great, guys. Thank you. Happy Zep-tember.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, John ZD351 is whinging about being dragged out of his life to just join us for 5 songs, and the Zoso show rambling on, more like it. Don't forget, John, we're going to ask you if you're free next week. We're going to get together and have a roundtable conversation on record companies. Are they worth their salt? Have they done anything good lately? What are they doing? Where have they come from? So if you want to be part of that show to ramble on with us, be just a roundtable conversation.
If you want to come on and complain.
Come on and complain. But also, like I said last week, we're going to be celebrating record companies too, because without them and the work that they did, we've acknowledged that, we wouldn't have had Brad and Simon, these great albums. So, they've had a role to play, surely, too, Simon. So we're going to talk about that next week. We look forward to it, Simon.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, be good. Wonderful. Yes. And it's, seriously, the last 3 weeks have been an absolute joy to dig into how the West was won, and just remind ourselves how brilliant it is, and what a unique and important band Led Zeppelin are. Hats off to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go and have a listen to it, guys. Go and have a listen.
Grab your list, Paul, please. Thumbnail, please.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
now,
baby.
I want you to do your best Jimmy Page face. Look.
What sort of face does he do?
Those lips. Right, got it.
You go to screen wrap. Oh dear.
You want to say goodbye to the fakes, Simon? We'll get out of here. I got a dog to walk.
I will, yeah. It's so's mine. So Gretch, nice to see you, mate. Hope you survived the bear visit. Ellen, great to see you as well. I hope you all have great weeks. John ZD351, see you next week, we hope. Good to you. JCM, Led Zeppelin Stories, thanks for dropping by. Really good to see you. And you do fantastic programs, which are well worth a watch. Gretch, Ellen, JCM, Jonas Halberg we had as well. Thanks for dropping by, Jonas. Good to see you. I hope you're well, recovering from your operation. What do you have? Hip operation? Hips.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's going well, Jonas, and you're up and about.
Next week.
She got you running up and down.
Next week it's arriving. Back in blue. The deluxe edition.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I hopefully I got everybody. So thanks everyone for dropping by. Great comments as always, and glad you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next week for more of this tremendous intellectual passion.
Oh, yeah. And keep an eye out for the Jimmy Page pose shorts that we've done too. I'll edit that. There'll be a short. We're out of here.
Sounds good.
All right. See you guys later. Rock and roll.